The room was filled with soft pastels, glittery banners, and laughter that echoed off the high ceilings of the rented banquet hall. Round tables were draped in lilac linens, the floral centerpieces spilling with baby's breath and peonies, and everyone was smiling, except me. I sat near the back, not because I wanted to, but because no one had reserved me a proper seat at the front. I watched my daughter Marissa, glowing in a flowy maternity dress, surrounded by her friends and in-laws, gushing about her upcoming baby. My first grandchild. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video. They all called her radiant, magical, divine. I called her mine. I had raised her alone. Her father left when she was only 5. I worked 2 jobs to keep the house warm and her belly full. No birthday was ever missed, no school trip left unfunded. I was there through every scraped knee, every heartbreak, every win. And when she graduated college, I sold my car to help her with her first apartment. That's how far I'd go. When she told me she was pregnant, I cried, happy tears. I offered her the deed to the lake house, the one my parents left me. I told her she and the baby could move in rent-free. I even helped her fiancé Tyler fix the leaking roof. I mended the porch steps myself. And yet, as I watched her opening gifts surrounded by everyone but me, it hit me like a slap to the face. I didn't belong in this picture. But I held my tongue. I smiled when she unwrapped the baby monitor I bought. I laughed when someone made a joke about midnight feedings. I waited quietly for my moment, the one I was told I could have. 5 minutes to say something to the baby, just a small speech I'd written the night before. Nothing dramatic, just a letter from a grandmother-to-be. I stood up, heart pounding, and walked slowly to the front where Marissa was seated. Everyone quieted down, expecting something sweet and charming. I pulled out the little note card from my purse, cleared my throat, and began. I wanted to say something to my grandchild, I began. Something from the heart. You're not even here yet, but I've loved you since the moment your mommy called me, crying and scared, unsure of how the world would treat her now. And just like I've always done for her, I promised to stand by you too. I didn't get to finish. Marissa stood up, red-faced, and yanked the note from my hands. "Mom, what are you doing?" she hissed. "You're making this about you again." The room froze. I looked at her, confused. "I was just saying—" Before I could finish, her hand flew across my cheek, a sharp, loud slap. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My face stung, my heart cracked. Not from the slap, but from the betrayal. "Don't ever make a scene again," she muttered and turned her back to me. Someone laughed. Probably one of Tyler's cousins. Others whispered. I stood there, trembling, in front of the entire room of strangers and fake smiles. My daughter had just struck me at her baby shower in public, and no one came to my side. Not even Tyler. I didn't cry. Not in front of them. I walked out, holding my dignity like a glass vase on the verge of shattering, and as I sat in my car, the echo of the slap replaying in my mind, I reached into the glove compartment and pulled out the envelope I had almost gifted her that day. Inside, the deed to the house, the one I had been preparing for her, the one she thought she was going to move into after giving birth. She had no idea it was still in my name, but she was about to find out. The following morning, the bruise on my cheek was faint, but the ache in my chest remained sharp. I sat at my kitchen table sipping bitter coffee, staring at the deed in front of me like it was a loaded weapon. And maybe it was. Not a weapon of violence, but of truth, of ownership, of boundaries. I hadn't told anyone, not even Marissa, that I had never actually transferred the property to her name. When she moved in temporarily with Tyler last year, they assumed the place would be theirs eventually. I let them believe that. After all, I was still their mother, still holding on to the fantasy that love would be enough. But after what happened at the baby shower, the slap, the cold disregard, the humiliation, I realized I was no longer her mother in her eyes. I was her placeholder, her bank account, her past. By mid-morning, I drove to the lake house. My house. I stood in the nursery I'd helped paint, staring at the tiny mobile still in its packaging. A box of diapers sat unopened by the crib. Their belongings were already moved in. Tyler's sneakers were by the door. A stack of unopened mail with both their names on it sat on the kitchen island. It was clear they believed this house was theirs. No lease, no agreement, just assumed entitlement. So I took photos of everything: the empty rooms, the untouched boxes, the lack of any tenancy documents. And then I called my lawyer. "Eviction?" he asked, almost stunned. "Not out of cruelty," I replied. "Out of necessity. They need to know they can't slap the hand that feeds them and expect the plate to stay full." He understood. Within 48 hours, notices were served, quietly, legally. And when Marissa called me 2 days later, sobbing, it wasn't an apology, it was rage. "Mom, what the hell is this? You're evicting us? This is the baby's house." "No," I replied, calm and steady. "This was the baby's house, before her mother slapped her own mother in front of 50 people. "You can't do this," she snapped. "I'm your daughter." "And I was your mother," I said quietly, "before you decided I was disposable." She hung up, but it didn't end there. Tyler showed up at my door the next day, all bravado and guilt disguised as outrage. "Look, she's hormonal, okay? You don't need to punish her for a bad moment." "I don't need to punish her," I said, standing firm in my doorway. "She already punished herself by burning the bridge I built with my own hands." He tried appealing to my emotions. "The baby needs a home." "And she'll have one," I said, "just not mine." I gave them a month. Generous, considering they gave me a slap and silence. I didn't hear from Marissa again, until the day they moved out. I saw her drive off from a distance as I pulled up in my car, the moving truck rumbling down the road behind her. I waited until the dust settled, then walked through the house. Empty again. But this time, the air felt clearer. It was no longer filled with expectations or assumptions. It was mine again, fully, emotionally, and legally. In the corner of the nursery, they had left behind a hand-painted wooden sign, "Welcome home, baby Emma." I picked it up gently and smiled. "Not here, sweetheart," I whispered to the unborn child. "Not here." But I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. Because if Marissa thought she could strike me, shame me, and then walk into motherhood in my house like nothing happened, she had another thing coming. The next day, I walked into my lawyer's office again. This time with a new purpose, to update my will. The week after I changed my will, I felt something strange. Peace. Not joy, not glee, but peace. The kind that wraps around your chest after you've finally stopped being someone else's punching bag. I didn't tell Marissa about the changes. I didn't need to. She hadn't called or texted since the eviction. Tyler sent one cold message asking if they could retrieve a few items they left behind. I ignored it. Instead, I started living for myself. I repainted the nursery and turned it into a quiet reading nook. I joined a writing class. I made tea every morning and watched the sunrise. For the first time in decades, I wasn't waiting for someone else's permission to exist. 3 months later, baby Emma was born. I found out on social media. No call, just a photo captioned, "Welcome, little light of our lives." No mention of me, not even a tag. Then, one evening, there was a knock at my door. Tyler stood there, awkward and wet from the rain. He handed me a pink envelope. "She doesn't know I'm here," he said, "but I think you deserve to read this." It was a photo of Emma and a letter from Marissa. Not quite an apology, but close. I didn't know what I was doing. I was angry. "I miss you. I'm sorry." I folded the letter and put it away. I didn't cry. 2 weeks later, Marissa came herself, looking hollow and tired. Emma was in her arms. "I was wrong," she said. "I don't want money. I just wanted you to know, if you ever want to be part of her life, you'd be welcomed." I walked to Emma and looked down at her sleeping face. "She's beautiful," I said softly, "and she deserves more than what we've been." Marissa smiled faintly. "What does that mean?" I handed her a copy of the updated will. She flipped through it, her face drained of color. "You donated everything?" "To a nonprofit that helps young mothers," I said, "except for one clause." She blinked. "What clause?" I left something in trust for Emma. If she wants to know who I really was, if she comes to me when she's grown." Marissa's voice cracked. "So that's it?" I nodded. "That's it. I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting me." She didn't argue. She just nodded and left. I stood in the doorway, watching her walk away, and I felt it again. Peace. Not from revenge, but from finally choosing myself. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video.